Welcome to Schneider Electric. We are glad you're here. As a contractor or subcontractor performing work for or on behalf of Schneider Electric, we want to make sure your work here is safe and productive. At Schneider Electric, our guiding principles are: we are qualified. Unsafe, we stop work. We report opportunities. We resolve and share solutions. We care for each other. We expect these guiding principles to also be adopted by all contractors. The following training program provides important safety, health, environmental, and security information which contractors, their employees, and their second and third tier subcontractors must understand and follow while performing contract work for Schneider Electric. Before we get started, let's explain exactly who is a contractor and what is their relationship with Schneider Electric. A contractor is anyone who is not a direct or temporary employee of Schneider Electric and is physically on Schneider Electric's property or a Schneider Electric customer's location to perform hired work or provide goods and services. Oftentimes, a contractor will hire subcontractors to help perform the required work or service. When this is the case, all requirements of Schneider Electric must be flowed through to all of the second and third level subcontractors by the primary contractor. Whether you are a contractor or subcontractor or perform work on behalf of Schneider Electric as a partner, you must understand that you are not an employee of Schneider Electric. You are an employee of the company that hired you, and that company has an obligation to provide you with the safety training, personal protective equipment, tools, and other equipment needed to perform your job properly and in a safe manner. In addition, your employer is responsible for ensuring that your work is complete and in compliance with all written agreements, scope of work, and governmental safety and health standards. Of course, Schneider Electric has a great interest in the safety of all contractors, customers, and employees. In addition, Schneider Electric is committed to protecting the environment and the quality of our products. This is why, as a condition of the contracted work or service to be performed, contractors and partners must comply with all of Schneider Electric's safety, health, environmental, and security policies whenever they are working on one of our sites or on one of our customer sites. When work is performed at sites other than a Schneider Electric location, the site owner's safety, environmental, and security requirements are also applicable. Please discuss this with your Schneider Electric contact before going onto any customer site. When working on a Schneider Electric-owned site, site-specific information from the local Schneider Electric safety and health liaison will be provided before any work is allowed to begin. The use of tobacco products is not permitted anywhere on Schneider Electric's property. This includes smokeless tobacco, as well as all vaping products and e-cigarettes. Alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, guns, ammunition, or explosives are also prohibited. All contractors, partners, and employees are prohibited from performing any work while under the influence of any type of drug that may impede their ability to work safely. Security. All contractors must be properly documented and approved by Schneider Electric or its customer before being allowed on site. Once approved, they may be issued a badge or other form of identification which must be worn in a visible location at all times while on the property. Contractors must sign in and out each time they arrive or leave the facility. Contractors are required to help maintain the security perimeter of the facility. Do not give your contractor ID to any other person. Do not allow others to pass through an outside door which you have opened. Do not prop open any outside door without prior approval from a Schneider Electric or customer representative. The work plan and point of work risk assessment. In order to assist contractors in meeting their safety, health, and environmental obligations, a Schneider Electric representative will be assigned to each contract operation. The Schneider Electric representative will make sure that the work being performed is in compliance with Schneider Electric's policies and any applicable governmental regulations. This will be done through observations and audits. The contractor must also select a representative. Contract employees must know how to contact him or her when needed. The contractor representative must also be known to the Schneider Electric representative. Prior to any work being performed, the contractor's representative and Schneider Electric's representative will meet to develop a work plan and perform a detailed point-of-work hazard assessment. The work plan may be in a print or electronic format and must be available for review by all workers as needed. Documentation of a work plan and point-of-work hazard assessment may be requested during the audit. Those performing work as a Schneider Electric partner may have a standard method of procedure that they follow when they work on Schneider Electric's behalf. The work plan will include a description of the work to be performed, as well as a listing of all potential safety hazards, and the permits, procedures, and protective equipment that must be used to control those hazards. Contractors must use the work plan and hazard assessment as a tool to manage risk. The work plan must be communicated to all involved workers prior to performing any work. Contractors may not perform any work at Schneider Electric or on its behalf until a pre-job briefing on the work plan and point-of-work risk assessment is conducted, and the personnel involved fully understands the work steps, safe work practices, and environmental procedures that must be followed. All personnel involved will be required to sign a document to confirm their understanding of this information. In addition to the specific safety, health, and environmental requirements of your work or the service you'll be performing, there are other safety, health, and environmental policies which must be followed while on site at Schneider Electric or at a customer's location.
Control of hazardous energy, lockout-tagout.
Schneider Electric's Hazardous Energy Control Program, commonly called Lockout-Tagout, is in place to prevent injury or death from occurring due to the unexpected starting of equipment or energization of electrical parts. Any work that requires guards to be removed, electrical parts to be exposed, or places any body part at risk of injury in the event of an energy release, sudden operation, shock, and arc flash requires an appropriate lockout-tagout to be performed, which is specific to the equipment being serviced. This critical safety program is called lockout-tagout because all energy sources to the equipment being serviced must be isolated, locked, and tagged. The equipment must then be tested to ensure that it will not start. These types of locks and tags may only be placed by each person and removed by the person who placed them. All workers involved in a lockout-tagout operation must place their own lock and maintain control of the key. If your work requires a lockout-tagout to be performed, it must be coordinated with the Schneider Electric representative, or in case of Schneider Electric partners, with a customer's representative. Schneider Electric personnel will make sure that all energy sources, not just electricity, are properly located and isolated, and that all affected workers are properly notified that a lockout-tagout will take place.
Electrical safety.
Should your work require the use of a power tool, a ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI must be used. The GFCI should be placed directly into the receptacle and the tool or extension cord then plugged into the GFCI. Extension cords must not be run across aisleways or used in areas where they may become a tripping hazard. Electrical tools and cords must be inspected before use. Tools must be in good condition and cords must be free of any damage to the insulation. If a cord is designed to have a ground pin, it must be in place and in good condition. Stay alert for overhead power lines, exposed bus, or other exposed electrical parts. Always remain at least 10 feet or 3 meters from power lines or energized parts, and also keep any conductive objects or mobile equipment at least 10 feet or 3 meters away. Any work performed on electrical equipment or systems must be done by qualified electrical workers and must be pre-approved by the Schneider Electric representative. Energized electrical work, which involves repair or modification of energized circuits, is not allowed at Schneider Electric. All electrical equipment must be de-energized, locked, and tagged, and then verified to have zero energy before any repair or modification can begin. During the process of testing, troubleshooting, thermography, diagnostics, and electrical lockout-tagout, ARC-rated clothing and voltage-rated PPE and tools must be used until the equipment is confirmed to be in an electrically safe condition.
Elevated work.
Performing elevated work creates potential hazards for both the elevated worker and those below. Before any elevated work is performed, all workers in the area must be notified, and a safety area 10 feet or 3 meters in diameter, plus the length of any objects being installed or removed, must be kept clear of personnel by the use of barricades or the placement of a spotter. Elevated workers must wear a hard hat while working. Any worker or spotter inside the safety area must also wear a hard hat. Tools and equipment being used must be managed in such a way to prevent them from falling into the area below. If the overhead work involves the use of a scaffold, the contractor must ensure that a competent person oversees its erection and that all aspects of scaffold use comply with the appropriate governmental regulations. If overhead work is performed and proper guardrails are not present, a fall prevention plan, which may include a personal fall arrest system consisting of a body harness and lanyard, must be used and connected to an approved anchor point certified as able to support 5,000 pounds or 2,268 kilograms. The contractor's representative must consult with the Schneider Electric representative to select an approved anchor point. Do not connect your lanyard to anything that has not been pre-approved. If the overhead work involves the use of a scissor lift, boom lift, or bucket truck, workers must wear a body harness with a lanyard attached to an anchor point designed by the equipment manufacturer for that purpose.
Ladder safety. Ladders are only to be used as a working platform for a short duration. When ascending or descending a ladder, maintain 3 points of contact at all times.
Before using any ladder, it must be inspected to ensure it is in good condition. Metal ladders must not be used to perform electrical work or placed within 10 feet, 3 meters, of any energized parts. If the ladder is to be used in an aisleway, behind a door, or an area with vehicle traffic, the area near the base of the ladder must be marked with barricades, or a spotter must stand by to keep people and vehicles away. When working on a stepladder, do not stand on the top 2 steps. When working on a straight ladder, do not stand on any of the top 3 rungs. Before using an extension ladder, make sure the sections overlap by at least 3 rungs. Ladders used as a means of access to a higher level must extend past the access level by a distance of 3 feet or 1 meter and be securely tied off.
Personal protective equipment, PPE.
Personal protective equipment, PPE, must be provided to contractor employees by their employer. While in any production area or at a customer site, the minimum level of required PPE is safety glasses, safety shoes with a reinforced toe box, and a high visibility vest. All PPE must be in good condition for use and certified as required. Specific work tasks may require additional protection, which will be listed in the work plan. For example, grinding or using chemicals will require a face shield. Painting may require respiratory protection. Working in high-noise areas will require hearing protection.
And working on or near exposed energized parts at 30 volts AC or 50 volts DC or greater will require appropriately rated shock and arc flash protection. Housekeeping.
Contractors must keep their work area in good order. Materials must not block aisles, doors, or emergency equipment. Tools, materials, and debris must not be allowed to become a tripping hazard. Materials must be located, stored, or stacked in a safe, stable manner. Upon completion of work, all debris, scrap, or garbage must be removed from the property.
Chemical management.
There are chemicals and hazardous materials used in our operations. The container label for these materials will contain information and pictograms related to the physical and health hazards of the substance and may also include information about PPE, safe handling, and storage. Your employer must provide training on how to interpret this information. If you have questions or see something with which you are not familiar, ask. In addition, every hazardous substance in our facility has a safety data sheet which contains 16 sections of detailed safety information such as required PPE, first aid procedures, spill cleanup, firefighting, and proper storage. All contractors should review, understand, and follow the important information found on container labels and safety data sheets before working with any hazardous material. All safety data sheets are available for review. Ask your supervisor or Schneider Electric's representative for assistance in locating the proper safety data sheet for the chemical in question. Because of the need for Schneider Electric to maintain a safety data sheet for all hazardous materials on site, contractors may not bring any substance or chemical onto Schneider Electric's property unless it has been pre-approved by the Schneider Electric representative and its safety data sheet has been properly added into the Schneider Electric document system. All chemicals brought on site must have a proper container label that is in good condition and is legible. A spill kit may also be required depending on the type of chemical and quantity. Schneider Electric has environmental policies in place that strictly control the disposal of any chemical-related waste. Chemical-related waste, which includes soiled rags and empty containers, may not be placed in the regular trash and never pour any chemical or oil into drains or storm drains. Contractors must remove all chemical-related waste from Schneider Electric's property unless given specific permission and disposal instructions by the Schneider Electric representative. In addition, when working outdoors, all materials, containers, and equipment must be stored and maintained in a manner that prevents stormwater from becoming contaminated with chemicals or oil.
Powered industrial trucks.
Many facilities utilize powered industrial trucks, and these moving vehicles may be present in all areas, including manufacturing, warehouse, in the parking lot, and shipping and receiving. All pedestrians are required to maintain at least a 3-foot or 1-meter clearance from these vehicles at all times. Anytime a powered industrial truck is engaged in raising or lowering a load, the mandatory clearance distance increases to 10 feet or 3 meters. Never assume the operator of a powered industrial truck can see you. Always make eye contact and wait for the operator's instruction before crossing ahead or behind these vehicles. To help avoid powered industrial trucks, look for lights or warning signs. Also, listen for alarms and horns. Beware that a powered industrial truck may be traveling backwards.
Tools and equipment use.
Contractors are expected to furnish their own tools, supplies, and equipment. Contractors may not operate any Schneider Electric-owned equipment, such as forklifts, aerial lifts, ladders, power tools, or extension cords. PPE will not be loaned out. Integrated facility management employees may use some tools, but only with prior approval. Contractors must be properly trained and qualified to operate any equipment they bring on site. The contract worker's employer is responsible for providing this training and must be able to provide Schneider Electric with written documentation that all equipment operators are properly trained and certified. Do not operate any equipment for which you have not been trained and certified to operate. In addition, all contractor-supplied equipment must be maintained in good condition, have all safety equipment in place, and the operator's manual must be on board.
Work permits.
There are certain types of work that require very specific training, as well as coordination with Schneider Electric personnel before they may be performed. For this reason, certain tasks may not be performed unless a Schneider Electric approved work permit is obtained. The process of obtaining a work permit ensures that all safety and environmental concerns are addressed and that any affected processes or personnel are considered. Examples of work that require a Schneider Electric work permit include confined space entry, any hot work done outside of a designated hot work area, roof work, and trenching or excavation.
To obtain a permit for these operations, the contractor's representative must meet with the Schneider Electric representative and the customer's representative when the work is located on a customer's location to ensure that all requirements of the permitting process are included into the work plan.
Representatives from Schneider Electric as well as the contractor's representative must verify that all permit requirements are met and also sign the work permit before it is considered valid.
Emergency response and incident reporting.
While working at Schneider Electric, it is possible that you may witness or be involved in some type of emergency. Should this occur, you must know how to sound an alarm or summon assistance. You will be given site-specific instruction for using the phone system, radio, fire alarm, or intercom system to report an emergency. Write down this important information as a part of your site-specific risk assessment and communicate it to all employees. Posted around the Schneider Electric and customers' facility are maps which show the nearest exits, storm shelters, and rally points. As you enter each new area, locate these maps and make sure you understand where you should go during an emergency. If you have any question, please ask your contact person. Should a fire, hazardous chemical release, bomb threat, or other emergency requiring the evacuation of the building take place, the fire alarm will be activated and you must evacuate the facility and gather at the assigned rally point. If you are not assigned a specific rally point, follow other workers to a rally point and identify yourself as a contractor to a Schneider Electric or customer supervisor. Do not leave the rally point until dismissed by a Schneider Electric supervisor, the customer, or local authorities having jurisdiction. In the event of severe weather, an alarm will sound and you will be required to move into a storm shelter. Storm shelters are marked with a sign similar to this one. Remain in the storm shelter until dismissed. If you or another contract worker is injured or needs medical assistance, it is your employer's responsibility to arrange for medical care. Be aware that attempting to assist an injured person without proper protective equipment and training can expose you to illnesses transmitted by blood or bodily fluids. The best practice is to avoid contacting blood or bodily fluids and summon a trained medical response team to assist the injured person. Many Schneider Electric facilities, but not all, have a first response team available that can provide emergency first aid until off-site emergency responders can arrive. If this is the case, you will be given site-specific instructions on how to summon for first aid assistance. If you witness or are involved in any incident that results in an injury or property damage, then it must be reported to the Schneider Electric representative immediately. If you discover an unsafe condition or are involved in a near-miss incident, it must also be reported in the same manner. In either case, work will be suspended until an investigation is completed and the work plan adjusted to prevent a reoccurrence.
Conclusion.
Recall that at Schneider Electric, our guiding principles are:
We are qualified. Unsafe, we stop work. We report opportunities. We resolve and share solutions. We care for each other.
We fully expect all contractors to also follow these principles while working on site at Schneider Electric or at one of our customers' facilities. If you have any questions or concerns about the safety of any job you have been asked to perform, stop work and consult the contractor's representative or the Schneider Electric representative for assistance. Report all incidents and near misses so we can continue to improve and look out for all workers on site to ensure everyone goes home safely at the end of the day. Thank you for the quality work or service you're about to perform for Schneider Electric or on our behalf, and thank you for your attention during this program.